Hey everyone. I'm going to do a little bit of a different video right now, this being the beginning of a new year. I just know fitness is something that, new year, everybody wants to do it. And I thought since I'm putting up YouTube videos, typically people are trying to share some experience where they might have some knowledge. And this is something that, uh, that I feel that well, I hate saying I know it all because I obviously don't, but I'm better than average, I'll put it that way. And I've been doing it for 6 years now, almost consistently, except for, actually, that's not true. I had a job where I was working uh, with lifting cabinets, and that put me out of it for a while because I was just working such long hours, and it was a heavy job. But for the most part, for the last 6 years, I'm working out or doing something. Now, you might be thinking it's hard to believe, given the fact that I am skinny, but if you could have seen me before, you'd be surprised. In my personal journey, I have put on total of 40 pounds, and then I dropped off on that and tapered off. And then if the periods that I'm not working out, I've dropped to 160. If I'm just not eating, I started at 135. I was very, very skinny, freakishly skinny, right? And I just hit a point. I just said, "This is enough. I'm going to do something about it." And when I hit that point, I exercised for nearly 4 years straight, and trying to eat healthy and just change my life. I'm still in that process because I actually haven't reached my overall goal of wanting to weigh 180 pounds at 10% body fat. Uh, I've kind of come close here and there with the weight because I did at 175, but then I had to cut, of course. Um, Anyways, this video isn't so much into the actual application of exercise itself. I'm hoping that I can maybe help some people just based on my own experiences figure out how to be consistent, because typically what happens is people start an exercise program, they want to get into it, and then as we all know, it just doesn't last and it dies off. Unfortunately, things get in the way. Uh, but I was able to break through that, and I just want to kind of share what I think, how I think that occurred for me. It wasn't like I actually made a plan to make this specific time make it stick. All I can do is look back and kind of see what factors might have come into play. So, first thing that comes to my mind is importance itself. It has to be something that's extremely important to you. Okay. Um, it's just, gosh, I don't want to sound like a jerk, but most people, they might say it's important, but when it comes down to it, they would rather be eating their pizza, their ice cream. They would rather sleep in. They would rather not work out. And while we might, in our minds, think exercise is more important to me, when push comes to shove, it's not more important to you. What's more important to you is eating what you want to eat and sleeping in and not working out when you have the time. So it has to be important enough for you to actually make the time to do that. And if you feel that you hit that point and you don't want that to change, I would also advise raising the necessity. That's something that a guy named Brendan Burchard really talked about. And when I would look back on my own experience, that's actually exactly what happened to me. So what I mean by raising the necessity is you make the situation where you have to do it. All right. So we do things all the time, obviously, that we don't want to do. We might have a job that we don't like to do. We might have to go to school. We don't want to go to school. But yeah, we do it day in and day out. All right. So the difference is you have to do that. The necessity has been raised. Okay. So you need to create a situation where that's raised. For me, it was because I was working at a boys' home at the time, and they were doing this big competition, and the staff members were involved with it as well. And being in the boys' home and just admitting this to myself, being very insecure in the masculine sense of things, and just starting to, weighing 135 like I did, and the idea of the boys that I was supposed to be over outlifting me and outperforming me, it seemed dangerous in the job field that I was in, and just something I did not want to go through. So the necessity was raised and required that I didn't dare not exercise. I exercise at home. When I went to work, we'd have our team exercises. We'd go out to the gym and exercise. They had a little gym out there. And that was probably about half a year And yeah, the necessity was raised. I got to with that specific situation, I didn't dare not go exercise. So now you might not have a job or a situation like that kind of forced me into that, but you can create that. I know I've never used one, but I know there's websites where you can put in, link up your bank account and say, if you don't reach this goal, $1,000 is going to go to some charity, or you can pick the amount. Or I don't know, a class that you sign up for, people are expecting you. Just try and create a situation and an environment where there's too much pressure to not go exercise. Okay. So yeah, that was a big one. Another one that really, just looking back on my own experience, I can't advise this for everybody, and I think most people when they see it probably think this is like terrible advice. All I can say is it really worked for me, and it was actually the initial clicking, and that was using negativity to my advantage. Being 135, I was constantly referred to as extremely skinny, or ET. but and I just got to a point where I just couldn't take it anymore, and that negativity is actually what really fueled me to begin with. It's changed into a passion and a love now, but at the first it was negativity that really got me fueled and fired up. I was just done. And even now, occasionally, if I have something bad in my life happen and I use that negativity and I go blow off some steam and I love it, I feel better. So if that works for you, I don't know. It really worked for me. I also think men and women are really different. Men aren't too tied up in their physical appearance as much as women are. Okay, so I don't know. That probably applies a little bit more to men, I would imagine. I'm not a woman. I don't know. All right. Another big thing is you got to set aside the time to do it. Okay, don't just say I'm going to do it whenever. When I get home, set aside a time to do it. Okay. When I wake up in the morning, my family knows I'm going running. When it's 6 o'clock to 7:30, my family knows I'm going to be outside lifting weights. They know that. It's just a part of the routine, okay? And that is time set aside specifically for that, and I focus on it, okay? I got my headphones in, I'm listening to my motivational stuff, whatever you like to listen to. I personally don't like rock and roll, so I like to listen to motivational speakers, and they got lots of YouTube videos for that, just kind of get you in that zone. So yeah, create that time, create that focus, make that time yours, and yeah, let it stick. Okay. Another thing is dealing with the discomfort of the pain, especially as a new person. One thing that's really been developed for me is I've learned to love the pain. Okay, like when I'm lifting weights and I feel the burn, I want to do one more. I want to do it because I've learned to love that pain. Okay. A lot of times I work out, most of the time actually I work out alone, but if I'm working out with a partner, and I love just lifting to failure and then telling them to spot me on just a couple more, even though I know I can't do it. And I feel like I'm doing the bench press and I just feel that pain in the chest and it burns like crazy. And then when you're done, it's like all swollen with blood. It's the greatest feeling in the world. If you lift weights, you obviously know what I'm talking about, all right? It feels great. And you learn to love it. And if you hated it first and you just keep at it, you really will learn to love it, okay? I'm actually kind of going through that process of relearning to love the pain myself because I've always hated running, but I'm trying to really get into it now just to, running has 1,000,001 health benefits. You don't need to get into all of that, but so I'm actually trying to relearn that. I'm trying to learn to love aerobic exercise and running and doing those types of things that get you breathing hard and cause the lungs to burn. If you run in the morning, it really burns, all right, in this cold weather. Another thing that was really helpful for me was I stopped caring about food. Okay, now obviously, if you're gonna exercise, you need to eat healthy, so I don't mean just eat whatever. What I mean by stop caring is, like in my case, I had to eat a ton of food to put on weight, all right? But it was really hard for me to actually fit in that many calories, and so I had to stop caring, and I just, I have my shakes that I put together. If you know me, you probably know what I'm talking about. They're pretty big. I stick in tons of oatmeal and cheese seed and milk and vegetables and fruits and oil and protein powder, all right? And every one of my shakes is over 1,000 calories. And it's really difficult eat that whole. So I put that in a shake and blend it all up to get those calories in. Obviously, it doesn't taste the greatest, so I had to kind of just convince myself and say, I really don't care what the food tastes like. I'm going to do this because I want to reach my goals and I want to be healthy. So I put it in and I hold my nose and I chug it down. Some shakes that I've gone through have been pretty bad, especially when I load them up with too much kale or spinach. But you just do it in the name of health, and you'll feel better. I promise. In the long run, it's worth it. Again, that's my case a little bit different because I was trying to gain weight. All right, if you're trying to lose weight, you won't need to worry about eating so much. But again, it could also apply to you if you're trying to lose weight, because you will need to have to give up a lot of foods that you might really enjoy in the name of eating more healthy. Okay, so if you can train yourself that just doesn't matter, the taste of food is not important. Well, it's not important enough to stop you. Okay, I love food. I would hate to diss on food. Okay, and I know you can make it good, and if you're able to do that, props to you. I can't cook. I can't work with food, and honestly, I think it's time consuming, and I'd rather just throw it into a blender and get it done. So yeah, stop caring. Another thing is passion. Obviously, that applies to anything in life. You got to be passionate about it. It took me a while to develop that passion for it, but after I got into it, I got licensed. Excuse me, as a fitness trainer and a nutrition coach, and got on bodybuilding.com, and I was getting all the supplements, watching videos all the time. I was really into it. I'm speaking mostly to my first few years of when I started. Okay. Honestly, a lot of those things, after I went through my last job that I had and I stopped for a long time. And honestly, a lot of the stuff that I learned went out the door. And I've had to relearn a lot of that. I'm actually getting relicensed here pretty shortly, so I'm excited for that. So yeah, create that passion. Do what you need to develop it. And honestly, it's kind of like propelling yourself forward. The more you do it, and the more you read, and the more you get into it, and the more you actually see the results, that passion will develop. If it doesn't, I don't know what's wrong with you. That's just weird. That's all I can say. Another thing that was really big for me was how you set your goals with your life. They kind of have this thing we always talk about, like a SMART goal. You have like a time period, a specific thing that you're trying to achieve. I hate to say that doesn't work because obviously the science behind it shows that it typically does. All I can say is, for me, one of the big changes was deciding when I wanted to really change and get down to it, was trying to adopt the attitude of, you know what, I want to make this my life. I'm not doing this to reach a specific goal, or to stop somewhere. I want to do this the rest of my life. Now, you can have goals along the way. Like my goal, I mentioned early, 180 pounds, 10% body fat. I really want that. But because I love and developed the passion for exercise and health so much, I know that when I reach that, I'm just going to have another goal, and we'll go at that point and decide what to do. But I'm in this for the rest of my life, and I fully intend to do that. So if you can do that, I think that would really help. If that intimidates you, I don't know. All I can say is that for me, that was a big change in my mental attitude, was deciding this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. It's not something I'm just going to stop. So yeah, I hope you can do that. And accountability is a big one. I have worked out a couple times by myself in phases, but for the most part, I've had a partner, either in person or online with someone or a family member. My family and I did a big competition not too long ago, and for the last 4 months. And before that, I was working out with a friend. But yeah, have that accountability. Call them up, schedule a time to call each other up. How's your workout? How did it go? Oh man, I wasn't able to get up today. No, and he'll kick you in gear and say, well, I don't want to hear your excuses. Go get it done, right? And you go get it done, and make it a top priority. Okay. Let's see if I can think of anything else at the top of my head. Yeah, I think, that's all I can think about right now. I'm sure there's more to it. Again, I didn't really think about these at the time. I'm just kind of looking back on my life to figure out what made the difference for me specifically. But Yeah, I would say the biggest thing, honestly, is just getting passionate about it. People will stick with what they love doing. And if you can train yourself to love the pain, to love the fatigue, to love the feeling tired, and to love the gross food, I know all that sounds miserable, but you really can, I promise. And you will, it's a lot easier to stick with. Right? I hope that helps some people get inspired to get in better shape and fix their health. Thank you.